Hello everybody, how you guys doing? Oh man, excuse me. Doc Rose, welcome in, Wandering Picked. Yeah, no problem, you'll only be here for shortly. Good luck on the new flat. Mr. Lord, you said you have something in general. Is it a video? I'll watch it later, Mr. Lord. Yeah, I don't typically watch videos just in case sound things or whatever. But I'll take a look later and answer your question. Alright, my draw, welcome in. Let's go ahead and jump in. Oh, I'm so tired. We are back. With more Thousand Suns. Okay. We got 10 of these Seekers. And last night I had some time. I finished up all of the dark gray on the minis as base color. And I started putting white. So I got the backpacks and I got their little tuning fork there, so I got that. I need to get the bolters, and then I also got their shoulders. I need to get the bolters. That's the main thing, are the weapons, and then maybe any other spots I would like for there to be some different colors. So that is our goal today. So try to get our brushes moving here. Posted it Facebook. Game old people started yelling at me, saying I was the reason water is being raised. I just want to try something new. Yeah. Oh, you're making an AI video with your minis? Is that what you're doing? Thousand Suns Loaded. Thank you. His bolter does have like a little kind of suppressor thing on it. Yeah. These are Legion Seekers. They're kind of like hit squads, basically. So you go into battle and decide that there's an enemy commander that you can kill and you really need them dead. You send in a Seeker squad. And Seekers are veterans that basically infiltrate and then eliminate the target, and they get specialized bolters. Not like snipers, because there are like recon marines and snipers and stuff, but they get super specialized bolters to do such a thing. So I have these very nice bolters here. We're going to go around, we're going to get the white on all the barrels, and then we'll go in. We're going to do this in little stages here. Thank you, Mr. Lord. I appreciate the compliment. It means a lot. And they're just getting the base colors on right now. Paint is wanting to work a little bit of shenanigans with me, so we'll take our time. We're gonna get this. We have to paint the cabling. There's cables on the bolters. That'll be dark gray. And then we'll, I think we'll get to a wash, see what kind of touch-ups we need to do. And then, yeah, put a wash on the minis. And hopefully start doing some highlights. See what we can get around to. Expecting Thousand Suns to use loud space stuff. He pulls out the suppression gat. Yeah, like the giant magazine, and yep. Hey Blue, what's going on, man? How you doing? Yeah, and unironically, Legion Seekers are very good units in this game, and Thousand Suns Seekers are by far the best Seekers and one of the best units in the game. So, like, if I wanted to really win, I could bring a bunch of units of Seekers, and then there's like, you know, 1 or 2 units is more than enough, though. Like units of 5, even like 2 units of 5 are really good. really good ability, but basically if someone's not bringing tanks, they'll just get slaughtered. Like any HQ, Primarch or not, gets slaughtered by these dreadnoughts. Get wrecked. Anything that doesn't have an armor value will just eat it. If it's my minis, that'd be cool with my minis, but instead, peeps say it's slop. Yeah. Don't even paint minis, yeah. Yeah, Mr. Lord, AI is like AI tools like that can be like fun and everything. And while I don't agree with people like just, you know, crapping on everybody else's fun, right? Like AI and the data centers associated with it, and you know, like a lot of that stuff has become quite an issue and a very divisive one. So yeah. Oil change tire rotation this morning. Dang. Is it going to take you 4.5 hours like it takes me at my dealership? Yeah. You know, if we could keep AI to doing like fun little things like that, and then doing jobs that like help people live a you know, a better life, then I'm sure it would be more positively accepted. But instead we have, you know, AI taking over all the creative jobs while we're sticking people with manual labor and or just flat out unemployment. You know, I know multiple people that have lost their jobs to AI and gotten laid off because of it, and still can't find work. And you know, maybe there will be a bubble that bursts and all these companies will regret it, try to leave it. But yeah, you made a one-off thing. Yeah. No, it's fine. It's fine, man. I'll definitely watch it after stream, though. They do not chat about in their stream religion, politics, and AI. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, it has become very divisive. Do about an hour. Dang, must be nice. Dang, man, you got an Audi? My older brother had an Audi that he bought, and no, he had one. I was a teenager. He got one used, and it was a little. Yeah, it was like an Audi. I want to say it was an A4, is what it was called. It was the craziest car because he bought that, and he just, like, my parents kind of helped him. It was like a really good deal. This was also before like the whole like the used car market was wiped out with like Clash for Clunkers and stuff. So he bought it like he bought it used, but he already had a Mustang, and you know, he really liked spending all of his money. He sold my parents his Mustang for super cheap, and then bought the Audi, and I ended up with that Mustang later on. They gave it to me, but spoiled brat is what I am. But he had this little Audi A4. I think it was an A4, but it was the craziest car because it looked like a 1980s sedan. I don't remember what year it was, but it was just this little silver plain looking sedan, and it was a manual transmission. And the painting Nepo baby. Yep, that's me. You know, my dad and all of his mechanic money that he was swimming in, right? So he would drive this thing around. It was crazy quick, and I got to drive it a couple times, and I don't remember why I would drive his car, but sometimes I would like drive it. And that car was so incredible to drive. Like, you know, I had my Mustang, and my Mustang was a manual transmission, which was a lot of fun, you know, and it was fast and loud and everything. But like that Audi, it was so like low profile And then like everything just ran so smooth in that car. Yeah, that little car was a joy to drive. So there's my Nepo baby self. You guys want to hear really embarrassing stories? So before I had my my Mustang, I had a little '97 Ford Escort. And it was my grandma's car, and she, you know, being retired and I guess having money, you know, she sold it and bought like something else, and she gave that or sold it to my parents really cheap. So my parents had this, and they let me take it as a starter car. So yeah, that's like the most fun car to drive though, Blue, right? Like, yeah, but so I got this little '97 Ford Escort, it was a little automatic, and that's what I drove. Well, my brother did his whole like car swap thing, got that Audi, and had this 2000 Mustang that he put like cold air intake, he put Flowmaster exhaust on it, he put like computer chips in it, yeah, just like all these like little upgrades he did in it. Well, my parents wanted me to drive it. They wanted me to take that car. And I was like, well, it's stick shift. I don't want to learn stick shift. So my dad was teaching me how to drive stick shift. And at the time, I was already dating the painting wife. So we were already dating, and I, you know, drives around a little Ford Escort. But starting learning this Mustang, I was like, you know, one day she came over, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to show off. And we're going to go out to eat. We're going to go on a date, and I'm going to drive the Mustang. It's going to be really cool. So we go. I take the Mustang, and again, it's a manual transmission, so you know it takes time to learn and everything. So I start driving, and I get to the end of the neighborhood, and I'm like, it smells like something's burning. Like there's a problem. There's a problem with this car. And I was like, oh no, like we should go back, you know, and I'm super like embarrassed and like worried that something's broken the car and everything. And you know, you guys probably know what it was. Yeah, so Misfit Star, what's up? Yeah, so I get home and I tell my dad, like, yeah, there's, you know, something smells like it's burning in the car. You know, I got to the end of the neighborhood and I turned it around. He's like, oh, did you put the e-brake down? I was like, yeah, I put it up, right? And he's like, no, you gotta put it down. Oh, I was so embarrassed. I didn't drive that car for like 6 months. I was so embarrassed. Yeah, terrible. Yeah. So I ended up um driving it again, and yeah, more like emergency makes the car smell funny. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I wanted to show off. Yeah, yeah, that's right. You got repairs coming up. Start. Yeah, you got like a big repair thing coming up, right? So there was one time I was driving that car, and I think it was before I like my first kind of stint of learning how to drive this car. So I was driving it, and I drove it to church on a Sunday morning with my parents riding with me. So my dad was next to me and sitting in the passenger seat. My mom was sitting in the back seat, and was driving to church. Well, I get like kind of around the corner from the place, and I get to a light, and I stop, and the light turns green, and I go to start, and I stall it. And so I try to put it in gear, and I stall it again. Well, I keep stalling it, and I panic, and I just like keep stalling it, and the car behind me starts like honking at me and everything, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I keep trying to stall. Well, I finally get it going. You know, when I drive, I take 2 turns and I pull into the parking lot. The car that was behind me honking at me pulls in right after me. They're going to the same place. With some old people. Getting grumpy that they weren't going to be 20 minutes early. Yeah. Yeah, don't leave the car in neutral parked. Yep, yep. Oh man, I did that. Yeah, did that plenty of times. Slows you. However, I hate your driving. Yeah, yeah. Just getting the glares from the old people. Yeah. So eventually, I decided to try it again and never looked back from that car. So I was ended up having that car for 10 years before I sold it and bought my first car. So it was like 26 or something. I want the freshest communion wafers. Yeah. We won't get our seats if we don't get in time. I do miss driving stick shift though. This guy. Problem. Yeah, definitely trial by fire. Yeah. Oh, her name probably was Ethel or Doris also. Like, that's, yeah. Let's take back in the 80s. And 1980s F-150, yeah. Dude, yeah, oh man, the clutch and the Mustang that I drove was insane. Like, after I drove that car for 10 years, and I felt like with my left leg, I could kick a hole through any door in existence. Like, just driving in like a big city downtown with that car was brutal. Years, so I had it replaced. It went from being so loose to that tight. Yeah, it just kept stalling. I had so I told you before I had that car, my brother put in like a really nice exhaust in that car, which was always fun and everything. Well, after, over the years and stuff, that exhaust eventually like got a hole in it, and so I didn't want to pay for the new exhaust, so I drove it not a long time, but I drove it for a while with a hole in the exhaust, and it was super loud. And I ended up buying a new exhaust for my car, and my dad basically installed it. I helped, right? But I just bought a stock exhaust for a 2000 Ford Mustang. So I had gotten so used to like how loud the car is and like how much it vibrates with that hole in the exhaust, and like it always had that like bigger exhaust anyway, so like that was always kind of a thing. But that when I put on that stock exhaust, I wouldn't shift. Like, I would just forget to shift gears in the car, and I had to like relearn almost, because I did it by feel. So if I was like listening, to music or just listening or feeling for the car, like it barely felt like it was running compared to how it was. I ended up selling that car to this kid. Had it posted for a while online to sell. And a 2000 Satisfaction Pack isn't terrible. Oh, that's good. That's good. But I was selling it for like $2,000. And it was about maybe worth $2,000. I figured I'd be happy to get $2,000 out of it. Well, this really young guy messaged me, and he took a look at it and everything, and he wanted to buy it. Okay, great. And he said he had a settlement coming in. I assume he got in a car accident and was getting a settlement out of it. He had a settlement coming in. Once that comes in, he'll buy it. And I was like, okay. And he's like, yeah, it should be in, like next week or something. So, we're communicating and everything, and a week goes by. And he's like, oh man, he's like, I'm so sorry, like the settlement hasn't come in. He's like, listen, he's like, you hold on. He's like, I'll pay $2,100 for the car, so I'll give you $2,100. And I was like, oh, okay. Like it was, I think at that point I was still using it. I was waiting to buy a new car until I sold that. Well, every couple weeks he would message me and he'd be like, man, the settlement didn't come in. Hey, I'll give you another $100. I'll give you another $100. He kept offering more and more money if I just like sat on the car. And I was like, okay. Well, I eventually bought. It was my first car that I actually bought. Little Honda Civic. And so that car just kind of sat. And we started talking in like August. Well, it was in like November. He finally got his settlement and like came over and bought the car, and he paid like $2,500 for it. And I was like, sweet, just $2,500 in cash. And then the dude never took the title to get switched over. And I don't think he bought insurance for it. So that December, I get a letter in the mail saying that my car doesn't have insurance, my Ford Mustang. And I was like, excuse me? Like, I don't own a Ford Mustang. Not anymore. So I started messaging the dude, telling him to get that title moved over and everything. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm doing it. And I eventually called the Bureau of Motor Vehicles, which, weirdly enough, they had one phone line with no hold. So it's just like if someone were on the phone, you were just like out of luck. You had to call back another time. It was crazy for the state of Ohio. I had to call them and get a hold of them and explain to them that like I sold the car and the guy hasn't moved the title over to his name or whatever. Like, we had a notary and everything. Like, we signed everything and like we did all the things. I did all like from my end. Yeah, and they were just like, oh, okay. Like, we'll mark it down. It's no longer yours. Okay. Yeah. That dude ended up spray painting the rims of that car and everything. He sent me pictures. He's like, man, look how sick this is. I was like, cool, guy. Cool. He was spray painting my Mustang. Robot rules look good. Yeah. How does Zangor's look for 11th edition? That's the real question. 1,000-point game with my friend. Playing Tau and go play Death Guard. Nice. Just gonna swarm them with Poxwalkers. That's cool. Sounds like fun. Yeah, I am so ready to play some games, guys. Yesterday after stream, I got some cabling worked on and was getting the camera kind of figured out, like the location of the overhead camera. So our first camera is just going to be a top-down camera, and it's just working on getting the perspective right and making sure it fits the whole table. We set it up and like it worked well, but then I realized like it's like fisheye. So and I also learned last night that I can adjust the angle of my lens that will get rid of or reduce the fisheye-ness of the camera. So I got to try that and see how that looks. And I assume the camera angle gives you a wider shot, which I might need. But we'll see. Subscriber bought with my own money was a VW Jetta. Yeah. venture now down the Triptonic shifting. I had a co-worker, as a buddy of mine, had a Jetta, and he loved that car. We worked with a bunch of boomers, so they'd all like make fun of him about it, but 40,000 Suns list is just like 50 Zangors and a Heldrake, yeah. The Heldrake rules look okay. I saw something about them not being flyers. 11th, but I haven't looked into the rules changes too much. Does sound like points are coming out soon though. Oh, okay, they have weird things with flyers. Gotcha. I think the Heresy rules did a really good job with flyers. The only issue with the Heresy flyer rules is, I don't personally feel this way, but I know a lot of people think that there's no point in buying a flyer miniature. Because you put it on the board, it sits on the board until the end of your own shooting phase, and then it leaves the board. And that's it. Like, the only time the enemy gets to shoot at him is with reactions. Which is fine, like, it's balanced and everything. I don't know any issues with the actual gameplay. It's just people don't like that their minis don't sit on the board, for an entire turn. Here, back, guys. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's strange. Yeah. My Civic has a setting, a sport setting, and it has paddle shifters on the steering wheel. I don't know. I've never legitimately tried to use them, but I also don't quite understand what the purpose is. Considering that my car has it's a continuous variable transmission that it's got 30 gears that it shifts through. So am I just constantly shifting gears with that, just for fun? '11th flyers kind of suck. They just pop up on the battlefield, I just shoot and disappear right after, rinse and repeat. Okay, so it is similar to Heresy. They don't stick around for a whole turn, Mr. Lord. Yeah, in Heresy they leave at the end of your own shooting phase. But I don't think 40k has the depth of rules that Heresy does to make them interesting. Painful in 40k. Some flyers have melee attacks they don't get to do if they vanish. Oh, interesting. Okay. They don't. Okay. Do some touch-ups with some silver after this white. Make sure that these bolters are all good. Definitely a lot of red sitting around on these minis. I think tomorrow is the full release of Tabletop Tavern. You guys remember me playing that demo on stream? I don't know if you guys have heard of it. A really cool thing about Tabletop Tavern is the developer had a wish list goal. I think it's just one guy developing it. He had like wish list, kind of like stretch goals almost for the game. It was just like, hey, how many people wish listed, and we'll unlock things to the game. Well, his ultimate goal was 100,000 wish lists for the game before it released, and they hit that goal last week. So, right before the game released. And his announcement for 100,000 wish list is that he's going to keep developing the game and everything, but all the DLC for the game that end up coming out, like all the extra things that he releases for the game, just going to be completely free. He's never going to do paid DLC for the game. And there's a big thing, he's implementing like multiplayer and everything like that, because it's like a roguelite, basically Total War game that's got like a Slay the Spire kind of like thing to it. There's like a dozen different races or like factions you can play already. Like there's a lot going on with that game, so it's kind of cool. Away, since Doom Scythe is 230 points, insane to fourth your points for something that'll disappear, so it can't distract your enemy by taking shots. Yeah, I'm sure someone's gonna find uses for him. Aircraft and Heresy come on the board and leave in the same turn, but I also think in 40k they probably are more reliable to come on. Like, you don't have to roll for them every time, do you? But in Heresy, what you do is you choose a combat mission for the aircraft, which is essentially like whatever you plan on doing with it for that turn it comes on, and that kind of changes how it functions for the turn, which is really cool. There's some cool things, like you could do extraction missions and pick up troops on the battlefield and everything. And if your opponent doesn't have anti-aircraft, they're kind of screwed. No roll, they just pop up. Yeah. So that's much. I like the reliability of that. I do wish Heresy had more reliable. Like, once the aircraft come on the first time, they just come on every turn after that. But aircraft and Heresy can be insanely strong, so maybe that's for the best they don't do that. So, okay, I was reading. I thought this was crazy. I want to tell you guys about this. Crazy as in like, you know, can't believe people are talking about this kind of vibe. But I was reading some people's thoughts on the new Mark IV Space Marines coming out, and one of the complaints I was reading about was people complaining about the bolters they have. They're called Tigris pattern bolters. They have the little like straight magazine and everything. Like they look really cool. And one person in particular was going on and on about how they ruined the bolters, the Tigris pattern bolter. It's worthless. Like it's so dumb. Their design choices and everything. And people were like, "Well, what's different about it?" And so he shared some pictures. His pictures of the older, like resin Tigris pattern bolter and the newer ones. And the difference is, on the newer plastic ones, they moved the magazine release button, which is like this little switch, like right in front of the trigger, that like unlocks the magazine, allows it to like pop out, right? They moved it forward to the front of the like magazine holder. And they're like, it's impractical, you can't reach that, like it doesn't make any sense that it's there. Like they ruined the Tigris pattern bolter because they put the magazine release forward. Like, dude, you're like, this is the hill you die on. Like the 2-inch tall soldier has a magazine release that's impractical for his finger to reach, and now you can't function with the miniatures. Like you're what aircraft have insane points cost? Night Side the same as Dune Side, just missing a weapon, 130 points. Doom Side is 230. Oh, okay, interesting. Huh. Yeah, I don't know. GW never gets balance right at the beginning of an edition, so. But yeah, that guy is definitely not helping the case when people call like Heresy players rivet counters. Okay, halfway done. Guy complaining that the release button doesn't realize you have two arms and the other ones. Yeah, and like, to be fair, not saying that he is not being ridiculous, but like, there's a reason the magazine release is near your finger, because it's 10 times more practical than like moving your hand under the magazine and like flipping it or whatever. But the fact that that's like the hill that he dies on with like a miniature gun from 30,000 40,000 years in the future or whatever. Hey Mystic, how you doing? We are painting the boys. Eating some brekkie. Oh, fun. UPS and USPS? Dang. Shit. You saw Heresy Air Thousands? Yes! Yes, Joker. How you doing? We're painting some Legion Seekers. That's what I'm painting today. Mystic, is your local UPS like a little one-room building that's surrounded by a cattle farm and has 2 employees? Mine is, and I love it. They're all super nice. By all of them, I mean the 2 guys that work there. Just waiting for the eeps to take hold? What eeps? I don't get the reference. Oh, sleep. Oh, okay. Oh, 2 a.m., yeah. Dang. So you're somewhere... You wouldn't be in Australia, would you? Or if you're in Australia, you'd be like Western Australia? Where would it be 2 a.m.? It'd have to be somewhere in Asia then, right? Can't even think of like Eastern Europe. You're East Coast Australia. Okay. Dang, alright. Well, welcome in. Nice to meet you, Joker Paints. I paint a lot of Thousand Suns, so this is kind of like my main army, my main game. Back into it. Had a little hiatus on them, but back in. A Heresy will continue. Heard from Valrak. Yeah, that they'll go into Scouring, maybe Mark 7. You know, I don't think Valrak knows much about Heresy stuff. Have you painted all? I've probably painted at least 1,000 of them, but yeah. You paint a lot of Heresy. What kind of stuff you painting? Or do you play? What kind of legions or armies? So, Mr. Lord with Valrak and Heresy. One of the things... so, there's a couple things he's been talking about for a while that haven't happened, but that's fine. I know he, like, speculates a lot and stuff like that. I understand the difference between, like, hey, I've seen this, and, you know, this is a rumor, or this is something I think will happen. But, one of the things I saw the other day, he had a video, and there was a comment on his video that was... It was like the top comment. I was asking, like, hey, do you have any news for new Heresy stuff? And it was like 2 weeks ago. And and his comment, I don't know if it's, I don't know, it didn't sound like, you know, haha, I'm joking kind of thing, but his comment was like, no, GW's putting Heresy on the back burner. There's nothing coming for it. Like, it's done terrible. So no. And then basically the following week, we get the Mark IV announcement for like new armor for the thing, which is, you know, another release. Like, Heresy just kind of continues on, you know, like, yeah, which Valrak is a strange one anyway. Part of me thinks he plays dumb with a lot of things, because I try to imagine how anyone's been in the hobby for as long as he has and like doesn't know basic unit names outside of some Space Marine stuff. So that kind of baffles me, but you know, I guess there are just some people out there that don't have, I guess, an iota of curiosity about things, and yeah. But you know, Valrak did. He talked about the Saturnine set, you know, a year and a half before it came out. So you know, he's not the one that's providing the rumors, right? He's just he's just speaking them for other people, right? Posting them for others that send him stuff. If he doesn't see it, it's not a big rumor. But yeah, his weird speculation. I also think he's in that big kind of 4chan Horus Heresy attitude. Doesn't like it because GW bad or something. $12,000 of Dark Angels, 4,500 for Night Lords, 2K Death Guard, 2K Blood Angels work on Sallies and Solar Ox, 2 to 3 Harveys and reinforcements in all the boxes. Oh my lord. That's so much. I bought 15,000 points of 1,000 Suns painted with Solar Auxiliary and Militia to go along with them, but I do not have quite the collection you do. Impressive. Most impressive. Well, Joker, it'll be around this kind of time frame during the day, I think, for the most part, but soon I'm gonna start weekly tabletop gaming streams. I'm in process of getting the room set up and everything, and getting that whole studio area put together. But Horus Heresy is definitely on the list of games to play. Alright, still moving. 3 more bolters. Put a little bit of gray, and then we do start doing some touch-ups. Put a little bit of bronze in the receiver, basically, but then we're touching up and then getting a wash on everybody. All the pointed stuff is built and painted. Very nice. That's impressive. Yeah. Were you like a were you like a first edition Heresy player? Just collecting for like 10 years before all the plastic started coming around. I wanted to get into it with when it was like Forge World and the Black Books and everything, but I knew I was never going to be able to afford buying Forge World minis, so I jumped in 2 feet first when second edition came out, though. Even buying in the future the different armor marks of Horus Heresy Proxima has 40k units. Oh, that's really cool. Yeah. Yeah, I think eventually, Mr. Lord, I think eventually we'll get scouring stuff, but I don't see scouring things coming before, like, we have all the armor marks and legions getting their specific plastics and, you know, maybe some plastic Primarchs and stuff. I think all of that's going to happen before we get scouring miniature game, which I also think will be like a Heresy expansion. I don't think it's going to be like a full-fledged game on its own. But yeah, getting Mark 7 and Castaferum Dreads and stuff like that would be really cool. You want a pre-corrupted Fulgrim? I have painted him, and it's a pretty solid mini, honestly. Like, it was really enjoyable to paint. Sorry, got tornado sirens testing. If you can hear those. My bad, guys. An Ohio thing. Heresy back in first at 2,000 points of Dark Angels. Yeah. Okay, okay. Got an old timer in the hobby. 1996. I'm a young and I didn't get into it until 2002. So. Tornado Sirens a core memory? That's not good. You know, my entire life, Ohio has tested tornado sirens every Wednesday at noon, which is what they do. And last year, we had bad storms one night, and tornado sirens are going off all around the city, but not in my town. Nope, tornado sirens weren't going off. I was streaming. I was like, okay, that's cool. At least it's not close to us. Nope, tornado hit our house. Yeah. 35 years they tested that, at least. You know, my entire life they had been testing that. And then, and the one time we need it, went right over my son's bedroom, basically, when he was asleep. If it was any more powerful of a tornado, that could have been a serious problem. Sorry, 8 years ago when I was 8 years old. Oh, dang, Mr. Lord, you are young. What in the world? We'll get, after this white, we'll get our bronze, because I want to get this the iconography on this shoulder here needs to be bronze, so I hate painting bolter casings, but that's the deal. Any other army, this would be so easy. 1,000 Suns being white has to be an issue. Worst bit is I have plans of allegiance if I finish my current backlog. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, I always have plans within plans. You know, I have 15,000 points of 1,000 Suns, but I still feel like I've barely gotten into collecting for this army. Like, I could get so much more. I also have a whole like thematic terrain set up that I have about 2 boards worth of terrain, and I'm wanting to get more. That's all Prospero themed. So my goal, my ultimate goal, I guess, one day is to just do a giant battle, like massive apocalypse scale battle with just my Thousand Sons versus, like, you know, Space Wolves and Custodes and Sisters and everything, and yeah, do a Burning a Prospero battle and just have all the appropriate terrain and the painted minis and, you know, all of it. Through a lot, they deserve to be high maintenance. Yeah. Okay, Mystic, sure. Reinforce for my current armies. First Love, your First Legion. Yeah, that makes sense. Armon into Pigment 2026 painting comp. Oh, cool. Where is that Pigment? I'm not familiar with the competition. Had some Thousand Sons for 40k on the backlog for a few years. A bit too much to get Night Lords, yeah. Thousand Sons for 40k are like a project and a half, though. So get ready to spend a lot of time on them. But I mean, you're painting Night Lords already. Like you're gonna be used to painting just Chaos Marines. It take twice as long at a minimum than a normal Space Marine to paint. In Austin, Texas. Oh, okay. It's the first year. Very nice. Well, good luck. Exciting. Yeah, absolutely.
Look at me!
Alright. Take a look in just a moment. Go check out Mystic's Aramon. She's going to enter into a painting competition. With apologies. Thank you. Magical Banana, how you doing? I'm excited to get to the highlights on these because we're just doing the base colors and everything's a little sloppy right now. Once we get to the highlights, I can really hopefully put some good color on these guys. 10,000 Suns because Zangors. Got which has the Zangors. Any tips? What do you like? Tips with painting Zangors or throwing them away or what? I think Zangors are cool, you know. I don't want my whole army to be Zangors, but GW seems to think everybody does, so. Alright. Mystic. Let's take a look. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, you did the Star Cloak. I love it. Yeah. That's so cool. That is so cool. I actually did that Mystic with my Magnus mini. On the inside of his cloak, I did a star pattern like that. So yeah, to see that on another Thousand Sun is incredible. It was actually Stream's idea while I was painting his cloak. They're like, you gotta put cool space pattern. Yeah, that looks great. Yeah, so cool looking. Yeah, very nice work so far. Tips for painting Zangors? I don't know. Like, it's, 1 second, hold on. Sorry, guys. I'm getting over a cold still. Magical Banana. Are these Order of Blindness, judging from the blue pauldrons and the suppressed bolters? Man, you are on it, Magical Banana. Very nice. Yes, they are Order of Blindness. These are Legion Seekers. Okay, so we need to do some cabling. So let's get this. I was explaining it yesterday on stream. The Order of Blindness and the reason they have a blue pauldron. I don't know if anyone was paying attention, but I did explain it, so happy there's someone that gets it here. Side advice from stream is the best way to push myself, knowing things I normally do. Paisley. There is an artist on Instagram. It's Julia something. Man, I can't remember her name, but I follow her on Instagram. She paints minis, and she will do paisley pattern with like highlights on everything. It's incredible. And she'll paint these like incredible like historical figurines, and they just look absolutely real. Like, oh look, here's the 16th century like King of England with like historically accurate clothing that's as intricate as possible on his horse that has just as intricate of patterns, and it's absurd. 240k, some units get more expensive if you take multiples. Yes, I did see that. Was that called the Highlander tax? Yep. That's such an easy way for GW to be like, man, people are spamming this thing, no more. I wonder how much more though. Like how much more is it gonna be? Happening to my favorite subgroup, Thousands CIA. You'll get to shady nonsense. Yeah. I have a unit of scouts with sniper rifles to paint up. I'd like to get more. I really want to make an actual unit of the Amatara Cult Cabal. The Intercession Cabal, that's what they are. Because they're super cool. But I had these 10 extra tactical marine bodies, and so the Seekers were the way to go. Do it, but it's going to cost you. Yeah. Be back. Spray paint. Nice, Mr. Lord. All right. A couple Sallies. All right, sweet. I'll take a look. My son loves salamanders. That's his. He's painted a couple squads. He doesn't get to it as often as I do, and jumps between things more. So I 3D printed a rhino for him to paint. If he ever gets around to it. We're just getting cabling on these, and these are just base colors, guys. We'll get to the highlights. Everything looks kind of sloppy right now. It's just kind of how it works for me. Look at some salamanders. Before I forget, I'll get that bronze out. I'll get this silver out. Oh yeah, look at the salamanders. Oh, I like that axe. That's really good. Man, that green is so bright. Forged to the lava base. Appropriate. Very nice, man. Very nice. Joker, thank you for sharing. And I love seeing Heresy minis. And you have the, that's the Assault Squad shield. The Mark II Assault Marine shield there. Go, but I gotta leave. Yeah, no problem, Mystic. Thank you so much for lurking, and thanks for sharing your work in progress of Armon there. They have blue pauldrons because it's the best color. Yeah, that's all the reason I need. Good stuff. Best bit of Heresy is the kit bashing. Yeah, they make the sets to kit bash, right? Great. We're gonna go back with the silver and get fill in all these little mistakes here. It's bolter. What I need to start doing is just painting the whole bolter silver and then going back, but we're changing how we're painting these minis anyway with the next ones, so my son had a soccer game last night, and he's in a league. It's just like a city league, so he's not like playing for a school. He's going into 4th grade. They don't have like school teams yet, but his league, he has one of the younger kids on his team, and he plays defender. And his coach has realized he's a really good defender, so he stays in the whole game. He didn't sit out at all this past game, but he is very good, and he has made it a point to like really push himself this season, and I'm really proud of him. He's been doing a solid job. It's funny too because his team is not great. Individuals on his team are good, but then like they play terribly as a team. And at one point, there's one kid on their team was yelling at the other kids on their team, and my wife and I laughed at it because he was yelling. He's like, "Why is the one defender the only one going after the ball?" He's yelling at it. He's talking about my son, because he'll just, man, painting son just all over it. Yep. No, the lady coach is terrible. No, she's horrible. We were talking about that, and it's the kids are young. They're between like my son is 9. I think the oldest kids are maybe 12 on the team. I don't know if there's anyone on his team that's never played soccer. But I know most of them have, and a lot of those kids have some skill. There is one boy on my son's team. It's the most frustrating thing. And I'm gonna say this, and I want you to understand that I know this kid is like 12 years old, okay? And not everybody is athletic. I get that, okay? And I'm not here just like straight up judging a 12-year-old, but I blame the coach a lot for this. Because she refuses to like change things up with the team and positions. Hold on, Luke Curtis, what's going on? Silly question, 40k newbie. Are Space Marine chapter models much of a? Are they much? Hold on, just different colors. Yeah, for the most part, different Space Marine chapters have the same models, like 90%. Some chapters are unique in that they have some unique models, or they add things to their armor. Some of their armor is a bit different, but yeah, for the most part, like an intercessor is an intercessor, no matter what chapter they're in. Yeah, a lot of it is just painting different colors. Okay, on to my rant here, my kids' soccer rant. When my son was younger and played in younger leagues, we'd have a kid play goalie, and the most difficult thing for a goalie to do when they're like 8 years old is to just pay attention. That's it. My son, this is his 6th or 7th season of soccer, like he's been doing it for a while. Paying attention is like the number one thing you need a goalie to do. And when you're playing in a U8 league with like 8-year-olds, if your goalie can pay attention to the ball through the game, you'll win. Like, the other team will score maybe 1 goal in a game, because a lot of the goals that get scored when kids are younger, it's just like the ball rolls toward the goal and the goalie's like standing on the other side playing with grass, and then they just score. Right? So I helped coach one season, and literally what I would do is I would stand near the defenders and the goalie, and when the ball was getting going to come into our half the field, I would just kind of yell at them like, hey guys, ball's coming, like defense, be ready, that kind of thing. When you get into the older leagues, you start actually getting like competent players who will kick the ball from halfway down the field, and they can make it into the goal. So like your goalie has to not only just be paying attention, but like little things like they can't be scared of the ball. If your goalie is scared of the ball, the other team's going to score 10 goals on you. If if your goalie isn't able to catch the ball, if they don't understand, like, you use your hands when you're a goalie, the other team's going to score a bunch of goals on you. If they're not paying attention, the other team's going to score a bunch of goals on you. But, as a coach, you kind of choose a goalie and you work with the goalie and you help them understand, like, what they're allowed to do. Like they're allowed to leave the goalie net. They're allowed to pick up the ball. Those kinds of things. And again, these are 12-year-old kids, right? Like, this is not like a difficult thing to go with. So our team, our coach has had the same kid be goalie every single game. And we are 7 games in now. And every single game, it's the same boy playing goalie. And I kid you not, this kid is the worst goalie I've seen in my son's 7 seasons of playing. He's 12 years old. The kid is 12 years old. And like last night we were playing and another player was running straight toward the goal with the ball in possession, dribbling the ball. And our goalie literally backed into the net and shrunk away and ducked from the ball, instead of like walking forward and just kicking the ball away from him, or like grabbing the ball. Like, my son plays defender, and he's like all over the field, just like trying to like cover everything. But if the ball happens to get past my son, it's like a guaranteed goal for the other team. We have a lot of players on our team that are really good goalies, and like it would never hurt for those kids to, you know, change positions and you know, go play goalie for half or something, or for a quarter of the game or something. But it's always the same kid, and I think what frustrates me more is that when a goal gets scored on him, he will like lash out and complain to the defenders like it was their fault the other team scored a goal. um or he'll like try to like call plays and stuff, and you know, the kid's like super like arrogant, and oh, it's so annoying. But it's like, coach, like, I don't know, you know, the boy probably said he wants to play goalie, and that's fine. And like, this is not a competitive league, and that's fine. But like, let this kid do something else. You know, maybe he'll be better in a different position. But like, stop putting this poor kid in goalie. Like, his team gets so mad at him too after like 3 goals. They'll just like, save this poor kid from ridicule. He's terrible. Like, just let him do something else that's like not going to be as vital to the team. Anyway, that's my my rant about goalie. It was funny. We had one game where he was goalie in the first half, and the other team scored like 4 goals. And we're like, really? Well, they scored 4 goals in the first half, and then they go in the second half, and the coach swapped him out for another boy who is also a kid who doesn't pay attention and tends to get hit in the head with a ball a lot because he has like no awareness, and he like won't duck from the ball or anything. And my wife and I are like, oh no, like, this poor kid is gonna be goalie. Well, that kid was goalie, and the kids kept kicking the ball in the goal, and it kept hitting him. Like, he wouldn't even be paying attention, but the ball would hit him and bounce off and not score. So that whole half of the game, the other team didn't score a goal because this kid just kept getting hit with the ball, like, incidentally, and was blocking it every time. This poor boy, like, I've known this kid for a couple years, and he has always just been the kid that just is always getting hit with a soccer ball. And it's coming in clutch at this point, because he's like a magnet. Studio C skit about that? Really? Oh no. You ran out of lead belcher spray, Mr. Lord? Oh, that stinks. That's no good. Let's get some silver down. But you know what? Actually, there's a little bit more gold I want to do some touch-ups on. Make sure I get... Seen this last night. Yeah, send the link. Yep, I'll have to show that to my wife then, if that's the case, because we were laughing about it when it was happening in the game. Sweet. But yeah, whole soccer season it's been about my son. Like, just trying your best. You improve, you do your best. That's all that, and yeah, have some fun with it, and that's what matters. Okay. So we're gonna grab some silver and or steel. It's Procryl steel here. This will be our touch-ups on the bolters. Chucked up 2 armies. Nice. It's not later. Oh, the army showcase. Oh yeah, the Death Guard and the Blood Angels. Very nice. Very nice. Have you played much 3rd edition, Joker? And if so, what are your opinions? And what Legion has, like, maybe surprised you or you think is doing either way better or way worse than you thought they would? Or is there much of a difference? Okay. Got some silver. Yeah, my draw. That poor kid, every practice, like the first season, he was on our team, he would just, like, every practice, he'd just get hit in the head with the ball. This poor kid is he's just gonna be concussed. He's gonna be like the guy from Not Another Teen Movie, where, like, coach says if I get hit in the head or I get 10 more concussions, I'm gonna die or whatever, and just like the counter on him or whatever. It's like Eugene from Hey Arnold. Is that what that is? I never really watched Hey Arnold. Did they have something similar? Was that terrible? Your childhood? It was not Nickelodeon. That's what it was. Or was that Nickelodeon? Or yeah, it was, because that was cable, right? Accident prone. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, by the time we had cable in my house, we were I was kind of too old for like Nickelodeon. Like, I wasn't watching Nickelodeon stuff, so holds up. Yeah. My son's wanting to watch Gravity Falls again, so he watched the first episode without me, but I think I might watch that with him. Another watch through. We did that last summer. We watched it for the first time, and that show was amazing. Okay. Silver, ready for a wash. Okay. Bolter looking good. It's 2 down. Question, what does super glue exactly do? Oh man, I don't know the science of super glue, but I assume it finds any like imperfections in between materials and sticks to them as it dries, or like sticks to itself and hardens. So if you have like a perfectly like frictionless surface, I doubt super glue would stick to it, but yeah, I'm not quite sure the properties of super glue. What difference is going in some third? Haven't had games in the last year before. Oh, your FLGS closed. Ah, that's too bad. A little smoother. Challenge mini is fun and brutal. Regular infantry, you have more of a place. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think I basically agree with your with your thoughts too. So happy to hear that. I really like the journals. I've been treating the journals as like a bi-monthly magazine to buy and get some like extra lore and stuff, and possibly some extra rules. But I've bought every journal. I think there are 5 of them now, and I've really enjoyed them. And the missions in the journals are top notch. Like every journal, it just gets like better and better with the missions they come out with. So I've been enjoying that a lot. Or as bland as the missions were when the edition first dropped. So that would make plastic glue, which melts plastic together, better than super glue. Yes, plastic glue is better for plastic miniatures, Mr. Lord. If you're working with, high impact polystyrene plastic. Excuse me. There's some plastic that doesn't react to plastic glue because it's a specific chemical reaction. So like polypropylene, but you won't find miniatures in polypropylene. Polypropylene is like a really soft plastic, so that's not something that you'll see. But yeah, if you're working with plastic minis, plastic glue is the way to go. Because yes, it melts the plastic and then they bond together afterwards, right? They kind of dry or cure back in place. CA glue cures, it creates a lattice-like structure between the two surfaces. The more imperfect, aka less smooth the surfaces are, to a degree, helps give these structures something to build off of. However, it's awful as a gap filler on its own, so the surfaces need to be well-fitting as possible. There we go. Yeah, plastic cement is better than CA glue on hips, but for anything else, CA is the best. Yeah. The Crucia Blue with the better explanation. Yeah, Mr. Lord says thank you to Crucial Blue on Twitch. Yeah, if you ever have questions like that, if I'm not online or I don't have an answer, Discord is a great place to ask. Because there is someone on Discord that knows the answer. Basically, whatever question you can come up with when it's hobby related, at least. Journals are good, not a requirement, which is good. Yeah, yep. Yeah, I agree, Joker. And, like for the missions, part of me has this, like, dream of making an app, and I have no development experience, no ability to do this, but making an app that takes all of the things from the journals, like the battlefield assets and the secondary missions and the deployment types and the mission types, and combining that into like one application that someone can be like, I want to make my own mission. Here's all the resources in one place, and you can just kind of like pick and choose. I think that would be really cool, and I would love if somebody did that. But jeez. All right, YouTube is getting weird real quick. What's up, Sir Stroming Fish? I have heard Sir Stroming Fish is horrid smelling, though. Not you as a person, but the food. Isn't it like Finnish or Norwegian or something? Watched a video on it a while ago. Yeah. 30K of freedom and terrain setup. Yep. Yeah, so being able to get... I wish terrain got more detailed rules. And, maybe one day it will. I wouldn't mind, honestly, if for Heresy, if they came out with a big book, kind of like a General's Compendium, right? Every once in a while, like they do for Age of Sigmar. And it just had, like, maybe a lot of the stuff from the journals, like the mission-specific things or whatever, but also, like rules updates and terrain updates and, yeah, like some new additional rules and stuff, like a big rules pack. I think that would be really cool. I'd be all about that. It's Swedish. Okay. Yep. The one Norwegian country I didn't get, or Scandinavian country I didn't think of. Guy. But yeah, having something that could like compile all the like new mission rules would be really good. Because I still see people complaining about Heresy only having 4 turn games or whatever, and like that's not the case. Right, blue, yeah. Is the not spamming rules update like 40k? Yeah. Right, yeah. There's no point in buying codexes for like 40k or Age of Sigmar, right? Because they just get FAQ'd immediately, and the points are never right. So it's like, why am I referencing the book, right? I get that. Yeah, I do love the slower update schedule. And I was ranting about this yesterday. I don't think Heresy's on a 3-year edition cycle. I have many reasons for believing that, but yeah, I don't think the complaints of like, oh, in 2028 it's going to be Heresy 4th edition, I don't think that's going to happen. Can't imagine how many resin minis we'll have in plastic by 2028, though. That'd be crazy. It's completely spread out from different books, especially on units. Yeah, so Heresy rules. Heresy rules. You have your big rule book, and then there's Libers. Now it's a Liber's like a codex, but there's Liber Astartes. And Liber Astartes is it's all of the Legion Astartes rules, like all the unit rules, plus all the Legion rules for the Loyalist Legions. Then there's Liber Hereticus, which is the same book of generic Legion rules, like unit rules. And then it's all 9 of the Traitor Legions and all of their associated rules. So there's a Loyalist book, a Traitor book. Then there's the Mechanicum. There's Liber Mechanicum, which are all the Mechanicum rules, which you can play Loyalist or Traitor. There's Liber Auxilia, which is the Solar Auxilia. There's Liber Custodes, right? Is that what it's called? With the Custodes. There's Liber Titanicus, which is Knights and Titans. So there are books, but there's not as many, and they cover a lot more. They also came out with almost all of them at the start of the edition, which is really impressive. The only one that was delayed was the Custodes that just came out a month or two ago. So the fact that they released an entire edition plus 5 essentially giant codexes that covered 30 factions between those 5, it's quite the feat. Yeah, and then you have the Journal Tacticas. The Journal Tacticas are small books. They're the little 47 page books that's like, I don't know, cheaper to ship or something. There's like a weird thing with that page count. But they're cheap books that have extras in them. So none of them are needed. There's no necessary journal. They're all nice to have things that add new missions or some new unit rules, or they update some unit rules maybe. Yeah, but none of them are nice. They have good lore in them. There's some good lore stuff. Jaded Valkyrie, welcome in. Trying to get touch-ups on these Marines before we get a wash on them. I can do some more after the wash. We're almost at 1 o'clock though. Alright. Yeah, Mr. Lord, there's also, in 30K, there's a couple of free Libers, free books for Army rules that you can just get online on PDFs. And those are the militia, the Imperialis militia, so the regular people, basically. The third line, the planetary defense forces that were sucked into the war, which is honestly probably one of the coolest codexes that I have ever seen written for a Games Workshop game. It is incredible the amount of like customization, and it's completely free. It's just online to read and to use. And then there's also the Ruinstorm demons. So like actual armies of demons it's a free army book. But they don't have, neither of those forces have their own dedicated miniature line for Heresy. So they're about using either existing stuff or kit bashing your own or substituting your own or 3D printing your own. Like those are all just make what you want. The demons in particular don't follow the 4 Chaos Gods. So because it's this thing where like during the Heresy they weren't known. So there's like 7 or 8 different kind of ways, like army rules you can give the demons, that some of them vaguely follow different gods and some of them don't at all. And just kind of make do with these generic units that you give weird upgrades to, and yeah. I'm playing some Legend units at 40k, like the Leviathan showed a while ago. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Good old Leviathan. It's the best dreadnought. Jaded, how you doing today? Doing well. I exist, I think. Yeah. Days do be like that, right? Feeling better this week. I got my butt kicked at the gym today, so just like perpetually just done with the day. Body's like, nah, let's just go to sleep. Scouring the campaign to kill Xenos and unite humans back into the Empire. No, the scouring is the like mop up of the traitors, Frankie Fingers. Jaded in his Nurgle phase. I don't know, Jaded, are you in your Nurgle phase here? Yeah, the scouring is like bringing Imperial planets back into the fold that were that had sided with Horus. That's the scouring. So Xenos were basically non-existent at that point. Yeah, by the end of the Great Crusade, like Xenos had pretty much been wiped out as any kind of threat in the galaxy. That's how I felt the past couple. Yeah, I mean, everybody's been sick right now, haven't they? Be right back, guys. Did I miss the mute key? Oh, my bad. No. Deal's gonna happen some point. I totally missed it. You guys are welcome for that. Sorry. Had to happen one of these days. I need a little like stream control thing. I can just push a button. You're welcome. You're welcome, guys. You're welcome. I actually do apologize. Sorry about that. Okay. It was really about reunification. Yeah, the Great Crusade is the Xenos killing. Yeah, reuniting humans into the Imperium. 200 bits to play the snot FX. Yeah. Oh. I am feeling better. Just sound like garbage. Stream Deck app for your phone. Oh, okay, yeah. 1-to-1 flow improver with Pro Acryl Black Wash. I don't like having my phone on the whole time though, but yeah, that's something to consider. I'm learning all kinds of stuff about crazy OBS plugins and apps and such. Sending me a DM? Okay, alright. Alright, are we ready for this? You guys are ready for some serious jank here? These are the base colored minis. Okay. Not for stream, but for... Okay. Not for stream, but after, yeah. Let's do this. 1-to-1 wash and flow improver with a giant brush. Hold on to your butts. We're washing minis. Sure there's not as much pulling on the shoulder pads. And yeah. Pretty good. Pretty good. For too long, I get self-conscious about. Okay, yeah. I do that, don't I? I'll read messages and I'm like, I'll respond to that later, and then just never do. Yep, it's not Nuln Oil, but yeah, essentially just an oil bath here. There was an announcement for Vampire Survivors this morning where there's more enemies to the game, not in the demo, but when the game releases. They have Death Guard as your enemy, as well as Tyranids. So they were showing off some of the units that you end up fighting against. They look really good. There's a Beast of Nurgle and like they're cool tank things and yeah, different stuff like that. So. there's 2. We need a lot more wash. Part of the process, guys.
Let me take just
part
a
of the
moment
process.
to thank
Joker
you
Paints,
for
thank you so
allowing me
much for
back
the
into your home.
follow. Go to bed. What are you doing, man? It's so late. Crazy. I can't stay up that late anymore. Well, I will mention, since Nightbot reminded me, I am still taking any kind of donations, any subscription on Twitch, or bit donation on Twitch, or just, you know, donations, tips, whatever you give. It's all going toward my weekly game streams. That'll be starting, I'm hoping next week we get a test stream in. So, and then I want to do them weekly from that point on. Just a weekly game, you know, couple hours. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Let's do 12 and 12 here. But any kind of donation that you give, any kind of financial support you give to the channel goes toward that stream, making it happen and improving it. So I'm starting with an overhead camera. I got a microphone. I'm getting things set up. We raised quite a bit of money to get all that set up, but I'm gonna keep trying to improve it. I want to get a dice cam. Is a big thing I want to get. Like early on, once I can get everything established. So yeah, all that money goes toward that. And also, if you happen to support, whether it's, you know, bits or subscriptions or whatever, you can go to a channel on the Discord called the Hall of Fame. And the Hall of Fame, there's a pinned message. You can read that pinned message, and it basically explains how you know, you can get your name on a mini. So on one of my minis, whether it's my Thousand Suns or any of my numerous armies, I have a Google Doc with all of my current painted minis for those armies up. And I'll write your name on the base, and that is forever you. So whenever I play a game, you're the one who is that mini, representing that unit or mini. Man, that looks so good. It's been a while since I painted Thousand Suns. I'm happy right now. But yeah. Hey, yep. Boss Nass would be motorboating to the bank. Yep. I do love Boss Nass here. It's playing. Birds are getting sleepy. Sleep routine shut down. Yeah. Alright. Been called 24/7. Oh, that's rough. Yeah, alright. Well, hopefully you can get some sleep, Joker, and hopefully I see you sometime soon. I appreciate you coming to chat. Always good to chat with our friends from Australia, and also, you know, another Heresy bro. So, great talking to you. I hope I get to see you around some more. Thanks for jumping in the Discord as well. Fantastic looking armies. I thought about making a YouTube video, an actual paint guide, but it was basically like my techniques on batch painting, and like how to keep your motivation for batch painting, and my technique. I tell you guys about this quite a bit when people ask me about batch painting and stuff, but I'm making a video, and what I wanted to do was I wanted to buy a box of tactical marines, like, I don't know, Mark 6 or, you know, Mark 2 or something. I want to get a set of those, and I was going to paint all 20 of them. in a batch. And that was going to be a video like, hey, here's me painting 20 Marines, and here's what happens when I get tired of stuff. But I wasn't going to paint them as Thousand Suns. I was going to paint them as Space Wolves. Because I figured people would get a kick out of that. Yeah, good night, Joker Paints. Good night. The key with doing these kind of all over washes here is just making sure you don't have a lot of pooling. So I'll just do a little dab and grab up this excess paint. Sometimes the pooling isn't too bad though. Not too big of a problem. Alright. 4 left for the wash. One of the big things I have to look out for in painting these minis with this color that I'm almost done using. I only have a couple more minis after this squad painted in these colors, but this AK Interactive Clear Red reactivates. So I have to seal it and seal it again just to make sure that it doesn't start bleeding through all my other paints and ruin all my colors and everything. And sometimes it happens a little bit, but it can be manageable. But yeah, lesson I had to learn the hard way. I don't know, what do you guys think of the bronze on these minis? You guys digging it, or is it I don't know, too World Eaters-y? I'm doing a lot of highlights. I'm going to highlight with gold and try to make it into more of a gold. If I really had my way and I went back and started my whole army over, I would do bronze, and I think I would highlight with light bronze. Like, I would just avoid the gold altogether, because I think bronze is just such a, yeah, it's such a nice color. Like this, the paintability of bronze is really good, but then also like it's got a good like grim dark feel to it. Zen, how you doing, man? You dying over there, or what's going on? Oh, nice. All right, fever broke and stuff. That's good, man. I think you have or had the flu, honestly. Like a summer flu or something. Yeah, you were describing stuff to me. I was like, oh yeah, like that's not just like a cold. Glad you're feeling better though. That's good. He brings that out in everybody, doesn't he? Bronze fits well with a metallic red. Bright gold looks sort of heroic, yeah. When I normally do them with gold and I put a red wash and they kind of get turned into like a copper. But I wanted to try. I figured this is a good unit to try the bronze and see if bronze would look good. I'm really liking it. It looks much more like Grimdark on these minis, so I like that a lot. All right. Washing these bad boys. Lovely giant brush. Yeah, I've seen like 3 Discord servers that have been like hacked and spammed today. I'm all like paranoid. Oh. All right. Space Marines. Give these guys a few minutes and maybe I'll get to mess around with the blue or something. Oh man. This container or this paint pot, see how it's melted on one end? It never sits straight. See that? This container, the bottom of this melted decades ago at this point. But this was just a paint pot I had. I don't know what color this was. Maybe royal blue or something. Ugh. Okay. Scorched brown? Yeah, it was scorched brown. So, maybe a year into the hobby, my friends and I discovered Tester's plastic cement. And it came in the like orange metal tube. You guys know what I'm talking about? It smelled like really strongly of oranges. But yeah, so we would use that. Well, the problem with those containers is once you squeeze them a little bit, like the plastic cement like never stops coming out. So I think at one point I had put my glue, I put the lid on it and I just put it in the container with all my paint pots, and it soaked into this and it just melted it. So like this whole thing was melted. This container has been the same, but yeah, for some reason I'm always using this one. I mean, I have like 70 paint pots that I use for mini holders, but this one always comes around. Yeah, Testers. Yeah, smell of my childhood. Yeah, definitely, yeah. There's old school Games Workshop. Shining Gold. They're old. Basic gold. Shining Gold, and there's Burnished Gold. They're two gold colors. Some from Vallejo paints that smell like them. That's great. One nostalgic smell is the contrast paint, GW contrast paint Snakebite Leather. I am almost positive Snakebite Leather is contrast medium with whatever pigment they used for chestnut ink. If you remember that one, Frankie Fingers, the old ink line. So I assume it's an ink or something they use as the, or a dye maybe they use. That's not the sewer water one. No, that's the original washes. Those smelled like sewer water. Oh, those are so bad. So bad. Just rotten immediately. But no, the, yeah, chestnut ink. The Snakebite Leather smells just like chestnut ink did. I have a paint pot with chestnut ink in it, and it's dried up, but you can open it and still smell it. Yeah, yep. Yeah, I can tell pigments by their smell, guys. Is that my flavor of autism? Is I'm able to smell paint and tell you what's in it. Classic Warhammer. That's the only one you're out of? Oh, that's too bad. I only had chestnut ink and black ink at the time. Teams have the newest version of Android, and your 4-year-old phone's going to be unable to run Teams in a month. Oh, that's annoying. Business expense, right? Of some sort. Did you tell your company you need a new phone? Or your, they probably don't expect you to have Teams on your phone, do they? So maybe that's... Yeah, they're not gonna help you buy a new one. Yeah, that's annoying. I've noticed things about paint that nobody else does. Yeah, I guess you're right. About try. try. Good stuff. Good stuff. We're getting there. Well, good news is I haven't noticed much reactivation in the red paint this time, so that's good. Less nonsense I'll have to deal with. Phones are off limits for regular work use anyway. Yeah. I need to buy a new. No, give me money. Yeah, I think Assyrian, it's more a work from home mentality of being able to go places and still have teams on, and not not just have to have your laptop with you. Not so much that they're contacting after hours or whatever, but oh man. I think for the gold, I think what I do is a 50-50 mix of rich gold and bronze. And then maybe bright gold highlight. Or maybe put some light bronze in there. Something. For home, my gear I need for work has to be supplied by my employer. Yes. Service species home. Right. You hit 40,000 channel points. Congrats, Frankie Fingers. That's crazy. That's a lot. Well, getting a wash on these guys was useful. A lot done today. We are doing the Patreon hangout tonight. So, hobby hangout for Patreon this evening. Between 8:30 and 9 I'll be on. I'll try to let you guys know. And yeah, I think I'm going to continue painting my my Seekers here. Yeah, I'll take some tickets, dude. Just send them over. I can't promise they'll be done or done correctly, but I'll just start making calls, telling everyone to turn off and turn on their machine. Yeah, no problem. No problem. Oh, yeah. What is going on? Yeah, we're kind of at watch the paint dry stage, aren't we? Yeah, something I should do. Let's go take a look. Hold on. Okay, I have base toppers here that need painted. So we got 10 of them. I don't like printing whole bases just because I feel like they warp too much. For me, it's always better to just print the toppers, and I need to sand the bottom of these. But these are from the name I can't pronounce, Tlaxarli. I don't know how I pronounce it, but I'm gonna use this for my minis. So I printed these. I'm gonna sand these down, and what I do to sand resin, my big thing is I have like just a block, like a sanding block, and I use water, so I'll get things wet and I sand it so there's no dust. It just creates like a slurry, or like, you know, like washes it away basically, but I don't have to worry about like dust kicking up while I'm sanding things. So yeah, I'll sand these base toppers, I'll glue them to bases, and I'll need to paint these, which don't take me very long. It's an afternoon once I get them all primed and everything. And then the seekers get glued to these, and we put some weathering powder on some things, and they're done. Yeah, the wet sanding, yeah, it definitely is. So, base toppers. I print these in about batches of like 25 or something. But yeah, so these, I wasn't sure if I had some painted or not. It looks like I don't. Maybe I do somewhere, but I think I used them on some other stuff. Who knows? I have too many boxes of minis and crap sitting around. Was this blue dry? No. Let's see, it's kind of getting there. Well, I'm going to take a quick break, and I'll come back and we'll see if this paint is, or this wash is dry by the time I come back. I will make sure to mute the mic this time. Alright. Try to give you 3 weeks notice to get a new phone or I won't be able to access Teams anymore. What? Huh. Alright, we're gonna mess around with some of these paints. I got dark blue gray, I believe was my color I was using. Wasn't that one, was it? No, definitely wasn't Payne's gray. Yeah, it was dark blue gray. So we're gonna start with a little highlight of this. See if we can't get a little bit of color done. Yeah, dark blue gray is incredible. I agree. Agree. The question here is, why is Teams updating to the latest version of Android? That just seems like a collaboration to get people to buy more stuff, buy more phones. Yeah, sure, security reasons. Okay. Not as if 99% of security issues are people just giving their information to random emails. Your basement have flooding damage? Jeez, dude. From like the crazy rain that we had a couple weeks ago. Microsoft is a security risk, yeah. Last one for this shade of blue. Well, guys, I'm looking forward to the hobby hangout tonight. I'm doing last week and I missed it. Excuse me, Nightbot's getting kind of aggressive here. Alright, so I'm going to use some dark turquoise. This is what I'm going to mix in here. This color I use on their base. And this is also like Aramon blue. If you're familiar with the GW color, this is literally a 1-to-1 with Aramon blue. It's just a better paint overall. So we'll mix 1 drop of that in. See what kind of nice shade we get. Just in case it's still contagious. Yeah. Sweet, Zen. Alright, well. Yeah, it sucks you're missing out on some of your gaming, but it'd be good to have you in the hangout. Into maybe not. Maybe not. Building all my orcs that I own, ready for 11th. Oh, nice, Anthony, nice. You gotta paint them. You got a week to paint all your minis. I don't know if you guys saw yesterday, GW, they put a statement out about the art, the Heresy art, that everybody was screaming was AI and everything. Games Workshop said it is not AI. They said they've been using the same art style for Heresy for over a decade at this point, which is like photoshopping layers over miniature photography. And they said someone made a mistake. And they apologized for it, and they said please go easy on the artists like they're people. Which to me is a very reasonable take. I think we talked about how it was probably like someone, like a human error, especially since like that's the only place where there was like any weird things going on, right? Like AI normally has lots of weird things. Like the more you look at it, the more you find it's like this disturbing, like almost like an illusion that the longer you look at, the more weird things that show up. A little servitor on the cryos. The little guy in the back, like the driver or whatever. What you're talking about? Just like the back rooms. I have not seen the back rooms. Was it good? Is that what it is? Like the longer you're there, the weirder it gets? It sounded like an interesting movie. Printing 10 tiny p. Of course they did. All those Mechanica minis are like that though, aren't they? Cultured, have you worked with the Myrmidon minis at all? Those minis are so cool looking. I mean, all the Mechanica minis are great though, so I don't think there is a Mechanica mini that I don't enjoy. Not the new ones. Okay, yeah, some of the Secutors, yeah. My impression from the Myrmidon release is all the Mechanicum players were just waiting for the Secutors to come out, because the Destructors are the worst version of the unit. The Secutors have all the like plasma guns and stuff, right? Axes and things. I think I'll do a single layer of just pure dark turquoise. Do kind of a little highlight in here. So here's a good in combat. Destructors are still good. Vanguard 3, yeah. Yeah, Vanguard on ranged units is very strong. It's the way to run Vanguard. Okay, then let's get some pure dark turquoise here. Just a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Oh, that's good. Man, bronze with the turquoise. Thank you, Crucial Blue. That's all you doing it. Apparently my subconscious was like, I need to do this. Nice thing for me is I'm just painting one shoulder on these minis. Something there. Yeah, I think we'll finish with this blue and then we'll call it a day. Yeah, so I guess tonight I'll be working on putting some of these highlights in on during the hangout, and then or on stream will be some more done. So we'll see what we can accomplish over the next 24 hours or so. The weird texture on the shoulders from where my printer was failing. Just a whole cluster of pixels died. So I had to keep some of the shoulder pads. And just be kind of like some battle scarring. Alright. Well. Pretty cool looking. No, I'm happy. Shoulders so far, so they'll be good, and they're good to like easy to pick out on the the Ouroboros. Yep. It's like the classic like 40k Thousand Sun symbol, right? But that's the cult of the blindness. Yeah. Yeah, as an STL, I printed those, and they're in the Mark II style, so they worked out really well, like being Mark II. And then the shoulders here are the classic Sunburst, and each of them have a small, like, raven symbol, which is Corvidae. So this one is right here in his shoulder. You see on the front of his shoulder pad right there. And that's I guess that's another cult they could belong to, but basically the psychic power that they'll have when they're being used, they'll be Corvidae seekers. But I am going to call stream there, and I will be on tomorrow, so we'll do 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern tomorrow, and we'll probably just continue some seekers and just try to be real chill, and yeah, it'll be a good day. But you guys have a wonderful day and a wonderful evening. Hopefully I'll see a lot of you guys during the hangout tonight, our Patreon hangout and Discord, and otherwise I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye everybody. Bye Culture American, Anthony Zen. Who else is up here? Crucial Blue, Assyrian, Jaded, My Draw. Bye you guys. Have a good one.